So this time from the Hobbit 4-inch scale figures, we're taking a look at the 2-pack of Bolg and Gandalf. This is a little bit different than your standard 2-packs. It's a little bit bigger packaging because of Bolg and a little bit more expensive. I think this was $17, $18. You know, you do get the large character, so I can understand a little bit increase in price, and it is worth it still because of Gandalf alone being about $9, $10 single carded. So you factor in the other figure and it is a little bit better to go ahead and purchase this than still just to buy Gandalf alone, I think. Now before we take a look at the figures, we're going to take a look at the back of the package here. A photograph of both the figures, and you get bios for both of the figures as well. And you do find that Bolg is related to the orcs that take over the fortress of Dol Guldur in Mirkwood. We'll take a look at Bolg first. And Bolg does come pretty well armed. He's got this huge mace, spiked mace, that looks pretty deadly, as well as not one but two swords. He's got this big one that he holds right now, and he has a smaller, thinner blade here. And unfortunately, he doesn't have a place to store any of his weapons on him. That's the one drawback to this figure, and it's really puzzling since most of all the other figures do have that. All of the weapons are very kind of orcish weapons. They're made of bone and kind of brutal bladed, you know, edges, so it is quite nice from a design standpoint. It is pretty cool, and you can see there's details of I don't know if that's scratches or design work in there, but I'm gonna go with that it's just being beat up so that it's been used in combat before, so that's neat. The bone theme of his weapons is carried out in his armor as well. You can see that he has bone armor on his feet. He's got bones going around his rib cage. He's got a spine on his back and these bones sticking out on his shoulders, and looks like there's even bones underneath here. You can even see the detail for a 4-inch figure. You can see the detailed chainmail that he wears. So a very detailed figure. He's got you can see the sort of the links of the chain on his shoulder pads, which are very nice. They are made of soft, rubbery pieces, so you are able to pose his arms a little bit more without, you know, giving up articulation to the design. He is still a little bit limited in articulation, but we'll get to that. His head is great. He's more of the standard orc that we've seen in the first, or the Lord of the Rings movies, and being the taller variety, very mean looking. It's got the red beard, very nice hair sculpting. The skin tone is a palish skin tone that is unlike any other orc we've seen, but still very well painted with splotches and thing, just to give that sort of icky skin feeling that a lot of these bad guys have. And his head will go left and right, sort of, as far as the hair and the pieces of his shoulder pads will allow. It's not too much, but it is some. This piece here is another piece. I assume if you pop your head, this whole thing would come off. And, I mean, you could do it. I'm not going to do that. Now, his arms will go forward and back as far as they can go before hitting his shoulder pads there. Like I said, the things on his actual shoulders here are made of a soft rubbery thing that will allow for some articulation, but they do get in the way sometimes. So it's not quite fully articulated, but there is some there. And he does rotate and bend at his elbows, as well as rotate at his wrists. There's a torso articulation that allows him to move left and right, and, well, a little bit forward and back as well. And his legs do have, like all of these figures, they rotate and move out and in, so to get them to move forward, you gotta rotate them, push them in, and then use the articulation on his knee, which allows him to rotate and bend to get his legs into a forward position. So kind of limiting due to that, but not too bad for a 4-inch figure. To Gandalf, who is probably I would say the third most important character in the story of The Hobbit. It's really nice to see him get pretty good treatment here as well. He's got, of course, being a wizard, got to have his hat. Now the hat does tend to fall off there, but it is molded to fit in just one spot to the head. But like I said, it doesn't really grip on there too well, so it will fall off if you bump up against it. And of course you get his wooden staff. Gotta have that if you're a wizard. And his last piece of accessory is the scabbard and sword. You can peg into his side here, and you can remove the sword, and the sword of course being the twinned orcist, that being Glamdring. We've seen it before in the Lord of the Rings movies, and this is where he gets it. And we'll see that in the first movie probably. And so that is cool. Now, all the weapons, I guess I haven't mentioned this in my reviews, but all the weapons are kind of made of this rubbery plastic, but the good thing is that they're all pretty much straight for the most point. There's been no warpage due to the way they've been packaged. And so that is always a good thing with me. I don't mind like the bendy weapons as long as they're pretty much straight in the package and not warped like you see a lot of weapons are. So good going on that. Now his articulation here, he does move left and right. Of course, having the longer hair and beard does limit his head articulation a bit. He also has this piece of, I think it's supposed to be part of his cloak, but the way they've done this is it's just this loose piece that drapes underneath his beard and hair. And so you gotta watch out for that. That'll just come right off if you're not too careful. His arms do go all the way around, out and in. He bends and rotates at the elbow and rotates at the wrist. He's got the same type of legs as all the other figures, but because of his robe here, you're not really going to be able to utilize any of the articulation there. But if you look there, you can see that he does have the knee joints that bend and rotate, as well as the hip joints way up there that are the same as all the other figures. So I guess that'll do it for the Bolg and Gandalf 2-pack. You know, if you're looking for Gandalf and you don't mind getting a orc figure, this really is worth it, because if you buy 2 figures, you'd be paying at least like 20 bucks. I think it is worth getting this set as opposed to just getting Gandalf alone. That's just me. So stay tuned for some more Hobbit 4-inch figure reviews, and until my next video, I'll see you.